Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This is a movie that I was extremely concerned about, especially considering this property's track record in cinema. But this was brought to you by the directing team of a very fun movie called Game Night, which came out a few years ago. It has a great cast to boot as well. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Sophia Lillis, Justice Smith, and a very over-the-top Hugh Grant. We follow a charming thief played by Pine and a band of unlikely adventurers who embark on an epic quest to retrieve a long-lost relic. But as is the case with any ragtag action movie, their charming adventure goes dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. In case you're wondering, I would estimate that I've played D&D maybe twice, 3 times throughout my lifetime. And I always have a really fun time with it. I love the world building of that game, and I love the fact that you can improvise throughout it. As a theater person, feels like something that should be right up my alley. But I have a lot of friends that I've met on stage who are devoted to Dungeons and Dragons. They love a bit of it. And I feel like they should definitely go and check out Honor Among Thieves in theaters if they really consider themselves fans. Because honestly, this is one of the most fun movies I think you're going to see all year long. The world building of Honor Among Thieves is absolutely insane. This movie only runs a shade over 2 hours. You could explore this world so much more. I wanted to explore so much more of this world. That's why I'm really hoping people go to see this in the theater and that it makes the money that it deserves. Because I want sequels. I want to learn more about all of this awesome stuff. And not only that, but in addition to the world building of the game, the movie, I feel like, pays the proper tribute to the source material that Hasbro deserves, because Honor Among Thieves feels so self-aware in darn near every facet. Even just explaining the backstory of a lot of these characters, when you have Chris Pine going on these monologues, it really does feel like you're explaining your own backstory in a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Yeah, to a normal, casual moviegoer, this could come off as just overly exposition heavy. But if you go into a game of Dungeons & Dragons, you have to be detailed like that. You have to know every single little beat about your character before you can proceed in any sort of campaign. And thankfully, these directors and this script is completely aware of that. While I'm on the topic of Chris Pine, man, was he good in this movie. It just felt like he was having such a great time on set recording every single frame that he was a part of. Every single line of dialogue, this guy is just oozing charisma. He even gets to show off a good chunk of his singing voice as he plays the lute. Now yes, some people are inevitably going to compare this guy to Star-Lord. Very scruffy looking, very sarcastic, not afraid to get down and dirty when he needs to. Also holding a very heart-wrenching backstory in his own right. Yeah, this guy's bound to get comparisons, unfortunately. But you know what? I think Chris Pine definitely holds his own as a performer given the material. And I think he's knocking it out of the park. If we get sequels, I would love to see this guy again. And I'd love to see Michelle Rodriguez again, who is such a badass in here. Her backstory is so funny. And it's so touching in just the right ways that it's not distracting from how hilarious this situation is. But when her character Holga needs to kick ass and take names, oh my god. Rodriguez is so awesome in the action sequences. I love this character. Such a badass in her own way. Yeah, if anybody was concerned about her future after the Fast and Furious movies, don't worry. Now she has a good action franchise to latch on to. You also have Sophia Lillis from the It movies playing a shapeshifter in here. Her character was so darn cool. If and when we get sequels, I would love to learn more about her character because I felt like I was just getting to know her and then it shifts the focus away from her, which I totally understand. But if you can in the sequel, I mean, Sophia Lillis is going to be a name to be reckoned with for years to come, I feel. She shows it in this movie. She's a badass. I would just love in the sequel if she got a lot more attention than she did here. Not that she doesn't, but it just felt like I was just starting to get to know her a bit. You also have Justice Smith in this movie as a wannabe sorcerer. I've been pulling for this guy ever since he played that annoying character in Fallen Kingdom, and he has certainly improved since then. I would definitely say all of his roles since Fallen Kingdom have been darn near perfect for him. Including this guy, who I feel like is going to resonate with a lot of people watching this. I don't want to give everything away, but basically, He's got anxieties about his own capabilities. He's worried that he's not going to basically fulfill the promise of his family. And his family is a long line of wizards. And then you get to Justice Smith himself. He's a terrible wizard. Like, he doesn't know how to cast spells. But the way Justice Smith plays this character, he makes you as the audience member believe that he can do it. And darn it, I love the character. He's an underdog. Every single one of these characters would absolutely love to see again. Hugh Grant in this movie is so freaking over the top, and I'm not going to get into detail about what his character is and how relevant he is to the plot. But man, every time he's on screen, he's just eating up every fraction of the frame. All these actors are on top of their game. They're all really funny when they need to be. They all have lots of great comedic bits. And it does feel like a lot of them are improvising in some cases, just like you would in a regular D&D campaign. And my God, when that movie digs into how self-aware it is and what its source material is, it can be legitimately gut-busting hilarious. There is a scene where our heroes go to a cemetery and they have to summon the dead, and they basically have 5 questions that they can ask each of them. And you don't really see a whole lot of comedy like this in movies anymore. You know what else you don't really see in big action movies like this nowadays? Practical effects. I love the fact that a lot of those corpses had this really garish looking makeup on them. Our heroes are legitimately interacting with audio animatronics on set, just like you would at Disneyland. Kudos to this movie for implementing these elements, just because I think it adds to the overall experience. Really makes you feel overall more immersed. Which does lead into some of my issues here. Yeah, there's CGI, and not all of it is overly convincing, but it's pretty good overall. I'm not going to say the CGI is atrocious or anything like that, but when you compare it to the audio animatronics and the practical makeup that you're getting throughout the majority of this film, it kind of comes off a little bit distracting, but that's a nitpick from me, honestly. And if I'm really getting down and dirty with the details and the nitpicking, the movie can be a tad bit predictable when it comes to the storytelling. Like Chris Pine's whole arc, you've seen it before. He's going to rescue his daughter, who's also played by Chloe Coleman. Great actress as well. Please give her more work. But it's a similar song and dance that you've seen with a father-daughter dynamic like the one you see here. And not to say predictability is a bad thing, but I think once there's a sequel out, I like to see a little bit more originality with some of these backstories and what have you. But besides that, I mean, I had a freaking blast with Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I thought all the performers certainly brought their A-game. Beautifully directed, love the production design, and I love the practical sets and the locations that they picked here. I legitimately believe that Honor Among Thieves, with all the kids who are in the audience tonight, I legitimately think that this movie could be their Curse of the Black Pearl. Not to say that this is going to doom all the sequels that we're eventually going to get, but when you look at this title and when you think of this property, you're like, what? They're making a movie out of Dungeons and Dragons? What? They're making a movie based off a theme park ride over here? What's going on here? Have we legitimately run out of ideas? And then that movie could do nothing but surprise you. Honor Among Thieves did just that. I'm going to give Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves an A-. I strongly encourage you guys to check this movie out in theaters this weekend if you can. Because again, I told you last year with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, if enough people go and watch D&D Honor Among Thieves, you're going to get sequels. And you're probably going to get a lot of them. But regardless, I think you guys will have a really great time with this. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments section below if you've seen it already. Did this video convince you to go and see it this weekend? Let me know all that and then some down in the comments. Guys, don't forget to become a subscriber and tap on that bell. Do me a favor and smash that like button as well. All of this is really helpful in continuing to grow this awesome community that y'all have built together. And guys, stay tuned for more videos very soon. This was the last video that I recorded before making the trip down to Los Angeles for WrestleMania 39 and all those festivities. So I'm going to be taking a bit of a break from uploading here. I've got a couple pre-recorded that I'll upload while I'm gone. But once I come back, we're full steam ahead. Definitely look forward to my review for the Super Mario Brothers movie and Air. And I'm looking to round out the Pirates of the Caribbean playlist on this channel as well. But guys, thank you so much for continuing to support this channel. I mean, really, it means the world. And I can't wait to bring more videos to you very soon once I get back. So with all that being said, back talk commence!